Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. And yes, we're up here in free agency looking to maybe add a big piece to hopefully get this team over the hump in a sense, because we are suffering some very big drop off with our roster. And I honestly don't know if there's a chance for us to win another Stanley Cup in the remainder of the series, but I hope that at least we could see some cool stats from like Asher Vance, for example. But you can see like our best player at the moment on offense is Bennett, who we brought in not too long ago, and he's an 85 overall, which is not a great sign. And also Wharton's our well, he's actually tied for our best, but and then we got like Brossoit, Coburn. Like, we got a couple good young guys that are eventually going to start getting into being really good territory. So Coburn, Bruce, Hawley. If those guys develop really well over these next few years, then there's a good chance we would get back to the playoffs. If they don't, on the other hand, with the amount of guys dropping off like Brossoit, Vance, and also a couple other dudes, this team is going to not make the playoffs if that impacts us more than I thought. But still very excited to see what happens this season regardless, just because I want to see what Asher Vance does at his age, considering he's dropped down to like an 82 now. Is he the type of player that's still going to have another 50-goal season in him, or is he going to just drop off to like a 20-goal season? But we have still like a pretty solid roster in terms of depth. It's just the offensive core that needs that one really good piece, I think. Like, defensively, we're not necessarily the strongest. Like, we do have a very solid top four. Our top six pairing doesn't have to be like the strongest pairing, so I'm probably going to run Bonino in Fergone. But I will probably sign ourselves like a depth defenseman just in case. And then, yeah, offensively, this is where I'm going to try and find somebody that could help bolster our team a little bit more. We do still have Huxley as a free agent at the moment, but likely we might end up trading some player away at some point too, because, like, to be honest, some of these guys might not get a lot of ice time, so we might have to trade somebody away in order to get a really good player in. But we'll see what that happens when we get to the start of the season, if there's anybody that's not in a spot that they should be. So, but yeah, let's go sign ourselves a depth defenseman and maybe a good free agent at least that's above an 85 if we can. Because I didn't get any suggestions in last episode for who I should go after signing wise, so I'm gonna just have to try and wing this as best as possible. So hopefully I make the right move. But let's sign ourselves a depth defender. And let's get one that's like 78 around, so they're on the same overall as Fergone. That way there's a little bit of internal competition, because that's not too bad to have with a roster. Wow, depth defenders are 77s. Okay, guess we're getting like ourselves. Maybe I should get a 77 instead, just so we don't run into anybody complaining about ice time. Kiskinen, offensive defenseman, great passing, solid offensive awareness. How has he done at the NHL level? Played only one game. Had some really solid offense in the AHL, but I don't know if this guy's able to replicate that in the NHL. I mean, I could give him a shot anyways. He wants 2 years, but he's not going to get 2 years from me. Let's actually wait a sec. There's a 25-year-old offensive defenseman instead as top 6. Not as good passing-wise, but was a former first-round pick of the Devils. Has only played 83 games, has 24 points. That's not too bad, actually, for a rookie defenseman to have 24 points a few years ago. Yeah, let's bring in this guy. Why not? Why not? He might honestly play over Fergone, because Fergone, I don't know if he's going to be really that great, but we might play Nordgren instead. So there's going to be our defensive signing, and then we are going to try and sign ourselves a nice free agent on offense, potentially. There's not really a lot above an 85, which is the unfortunate part of this. All these guys also want over $10 million. Sylvan Parks is very interesting, but I don't want to bring him in just because we already have Vance, and I think Vance will still be able to score a lot of goals, but who knows. Vico's a young guy, but I don't really want to sign somebody to a ridiculous contract and risk not being able to pay our young guys like Coburn and all that in these future seasons. So, Shelley. A couple teams are interested in him. Yeah, this guy's a pretty good player, but I don't really know if he's worth 10 million. I could go for Wild. It's not an upgrade though in our forward core. That's the only problem. I might have to look for a trade instead. See if there's any really good trade options. I think I did look last time, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't really a whole lot. So we might have to just skim through some teams and see if there's anything we want. But honestly, this might be one of the toughest off seasons for this team because we're suffering so much regression and there's not really a lot out there to look at. So it's like, I don't really know. Once this series is done, at least it's going to be done. But it's going to suck having Vance retire probably at the end of this season, my guess. Maybe he goes right till the end, surprises us, but let's see, any intriguing players. Read on defense, no thank you. I'm looking for a forward. Oh yeah, there was, I think, a forward, if I remember right. There might have been one guy or two guys. I just don't remember who. It's been a while since I've recorded an episode, so. Oh yeah, it was Lee. Yeah, Lee, and Cox is back there too, but he's dropped off a lot. Lee's also probably going to drop off a lot, and he's making a lot of money, but he's a really good player. I think the trade value would be way too high to get him, though. I could always try it, though. See what they would want. Anything else intriguing? Not really. Yeah, not really. Okay, so let's go to, actually that was boys. Yeah, boys, but he's 4 years. If it was only like 1 or 2 years, I'd maybe look into boys, but it's not. Let's take a look at what San Jose wants for Lee. Not that he would be necessarily the answer for this team, but I wanted to see what they have him valued like. Because he's only an 86, and he's 1 year left. So, our first round pick for this year, which is a big risk, Kapanen and Devin. Damn, that's a lot. That's an 83 overall top 4 defenseman, a first round pick. That could be a lottery pick. And also our backup goaltender. There's also Carter and Burris, so a top 4 and a prospect. Well, bottom 6 guy now, I should say, actually. Hanzus and Burris. A third rounder, Antropov and Brookbank. That's closer to what's more realistic for this team to do. The thing is, Lee's a left winger, which we don't really need, so I don't think I'm going to do that trade. As much as it would help out our offense, I just don't think it's reasonable. But is there anything actually out there that's like kind of intriguing that could help us out? Like if we actually go to the player search function and find guys that are on 1 year left that are listed as like first or second liners, is there anything out there? Because we definitely need to find something, I feel like, because I don't think we're going to make the playoffs this year if I don't. But I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong because this game is just so random sometimes. So let's go first liner, and we want to look for any position. Yeah, that's good. And we want to look for players that are probably in the 3.5 to 5 star range. Let's see. Do we got anybody that's intriguing that's got like 1 year left? Oh yeah, I should have put 1 year left on that, but whatever. So there's Delorier. Marcel Delorier. I don't know if Boston would want to get rid of him, though. He doesn't have an extension in place. There's also Benock. But those guys are all pretty old. There's Atkinson. Is whoever this guy is. Lane Atkinson. Really good passer, actually. Ooh. This might be an intriguing kind of guy to get in from LA. And he's a center, too. Yeah, this guy would be perfect to put next to Vance because that passing stat is really, really good. And you could see that, like, yeah, he could pass the puck really well. Let's see what LA is wanting for Atkinson. I think that might be my target here. Yes, it's another center, but it's somebody that could help distribute quite well. Like, I know Bennett's technically that type of guy too, but I want to have another one just because I'm going to be playing Vance as a winger for sure. So we definitely need another centerman, I think, at least. So I think this would be a good addition for us. Does it make sense for LA? Probably not, but I don't really care at this point. So Benino, Devin, and a 6th rounder. No, thank you. First, a 7th, and Marsh. I can't get rid of our 1st rounder that late. I don't trust it. Hanzus, a 6th and a 7th. That's something I might be willing to do. Cullen, who's unsigned, in a 2nd. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yep, we're going to do this one. Cullen in a 2nd, because that's why I drafted Cullen, was for the trade value. LA wants him. And he's a 48 overall, so he's not going to make it by the end of this franchise mode for sure. 2nd rounder doesn't really mean much to me. And we get ourselves another center to add to this team. So Let's do that trade. Thank you, LA, for hopefully a good passer for Vance. We're going to put him definitely next to Vance, I think. So there we go. Lane Atkinson has joined the team. Now let's advance a few days and see if we got ourselves that depth defenseman / top 6 defender. And then we will sim up to the start of the next season and adjust our lines and simulate probably still halfway through the season in this episode. There's Vance accepting an extension already, which is great because he's not making as much as he used to. But we had to lock him up already just because I didn't want him to not retire with this team. But he now has an extension in place at $6.2 million for the next 2 years. So we'll see if he actually ends up having to get paid that, because who knows, he might end up being retired at the end of the season. But that's nice of him to accept an extension even with this team having a lack of success. So, because you think he would want to maybe go to a team in the offseason next year that's doing much better, but he doesn't care about all these first round exits. He's like, I know I've been here forever. I just want to stay with this team until I retire. Pretty much like what Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews were going through. But obviously Kane had to end up going. Toews, on the other hand, who knows what happens with him since he's sitting out all next season. Okay, all these trade offers are really annoying. I'm just going to completely ignore them all. Now they're offering us Lee again. No, thank you. I don't need Lee now. Because it didn't really make sense to bring in Lee, because we have Vance, we have Coburn, we have Bruce, we have Hawley, all on left wing. Didn't really make sense to bring in another left winger. In my opinion, it was the center that we more needed, and we got our center. And yeah, I'm really excited for Atkinson. He's only an 85 or 86, right? But it's still, I'd say it's a little bit of an upgrade on our forward core. So, because basically we lost Ziska in the offseason. And who was the other one we'd let go of? Oh yeah, it was Brunstrom, our former defender. We're going to have to take a look at where those guys signed as well. So, excited to see where those guys end up going. But yeah, it really sucked to let go of like Brunstrom. Oh, Huxley's still at RFA. I forgot about that. We'll sign him up right now. Okay, this is Huxley's last year as an RFA. For going still an RFA too, which is kind of a surprise. Let's just give him the 1 year. Yeah, he's still got a few years of RFA status, so why not? And then Huxley will give you the 1 year at 2.85, but you are likely going to be leaving the team after the season. I think I might end up replacing you because we have so much kind of offensively minded guys. That's kind of pointless to hold them on to them all. Because we need a little bit more two-way forwards probably in our bottom 6. Because right now I think we're a team that's full of like snipers and power forwards pretty much. So, okay. Almost there, which is good. And then we can see what we're working with line wise. If we have way too much players, we might have to trade somebody away before the season starts too. So I apologize if this episode ends up being really long. It's only 13 minutes right now, but who knows, maybe it'll get up to 30 plus minutes because we still have to simulate halfway through the season. So let's see what we got here. Anybody scratch that shouldn't be. Brookbank and Laxo technically. God damn, I hate when that happens. Okay, so Vance to the top line with Atkinson, and who else do I want to give to the top line? Wow, okay. We're getting a crazy amount of growth. Hawley's not a second liner yet, in my opinion. We'll put him down there. We can move. We're in this weird state with this roster. Oh, wow. Wharton should be actually a lot higher than that, too. Let's actually move Wharton. Holy crap. Yeah, we have so much high overall players that it's like, where the heck do I slot them all in? Okay. So I don't really like having Huxley necessarily and Gustafson as fourth liners. We do have Brookbank, who should be taking one of their spots, and Laxo, who, is he ready? He's a depth forward as well. He might drop a little bit, but he could probably be a better fourth liner than Huxley. This might be actually the year to trade Huxley, to be honest. Do we got any guys in the minors that shouldn't be? Canzanello's close, but he's not ready yet. And then defensively, we don't have any defensemen scratched. Do we got a guy in the minors? Oh yeah, Benino. Benino. We'll call you up. We'll call you up as our depth defenseman. Well, not depth defenseman. You're going to be playing likely, but still. I need to figure out what I need to do with this team, because there's probably going to be a couple players that leave. Oh, Zubris was sent to the AHL too. Okay, so this is the year we're definitely trading Zubris. So Zubris is going to get dealt unless we want to keep him in the AHL for a year, which I don't really highly recommend. So let's get Benino in there. Oh, why is it so badly minus? I might have to look for a new coach, because I don't like a -3, to be honest, on my defense. Yikes, yeah, I don't really like that at all. Okay, so we're going to have to make some adjustments here. But also we need to address this a little bit. Let's go... Yeah, let's go like that. I don't really know who's the third line center. Hawley can't take face-offs. I think Bruce can't, right? Yeah. Okay, we'll go Hawley is the center. Bruce there, Recchi there. Okay. This is starting to come together a little bit. It's not the best looking roster on paper. Like, offensively it looks okay, but I'm still not sold on that -3. Okay, so I think I need to write down who we need to deal, because there's just too much forwards at this point, or players at this point. So I think we need to get rid of Zubris, who's in the AHL for sure. Offload that salary. And then we probably want to look at getting rid of Huxley at least. Yeah, probably Huxley at least. Maybe even Gustafson. Gustafson's still signed for another year, and Huxley's a pending free agent, so I think Huxley needs to be moved. And then we need to maybe look at reworking the coaching staff a little bit. Oh man, this is looking like Vance's last year for sure. Let me look at the which coach is the best fit for our team right now. But actually, wait, we'll do that after our trades. Let me just see if I can find a trade for Zubris, because I know I don't want to have him in the AHL. Is making, I don't remember how much he's making, like 3 million? 3.5 for 2 years. Yeah, he needs to be dealt. Let's see, what are you willing to offer us, teams? A 2nd rounder and an AHLer. 3rd and a 6th rounder. 3rd, nah. I'll probably just take a 3rd round, one of the 3rd round deals. 2-2 because of how bad his contract is. That's hilarious. Wow. I'll probably take the 3rd and the 6th from Detroit. Thank you, Detroit. Best of luck, Zubris in Detroit. We had to make that move because we needed to get rid of that guy's salary, to be honest. I like Zubris, but yeah, he was losing morale and all that, so it didn't make really sense to hold on to him. So Zubris is gone. Now is to get rid of Huxley, I think. What is people wanting for Huxley? He's got actually a good amount of value too, which is nice. Broder, who's an elite goaltender, don't need him. Kind of looking more for picks in this type of deal, to be honest. Just because I don't really want to take more roster players on that we won't need, so... Washington wants him. Are they willing to give up any draft picks? They are. What if we take 2 2nd rounders? They'd be over the salary cap, okay. Is there any team that wants him that would not be over the salary cap? Arizona, would you give me 2? Actually, you could probably only give me 1 second. Maybe you could give me 2 seconds. Over 45 skaters, never mind. Unless I want to add a skater to it. But I really don't. Buffalo 2 2nd rounders, over 45 skaters. Calgary, you'd be over the salary cap likely. Yep. Colorado as well. Detroit would not be. Let's make another deal with Detroit. Why not? They could take my graveyard of players I don't want. 2nd and a 3rd probably could work. Yep, that's gonna work, I think. So Huxley, you are going to Detroit to join Zubris. Thank you, Detroit, for the multiple trades. So I had to do that. I had to do that because we had just way too much like sniping kind of players, and I think it makes sense for us to kind of get rid of a few. I'm gonna put Laxo as the 4th liner. I do not like having Brookbank as a depth option, though, is the thing. Let's see, power play lines. Let's address this. Let's move Bruce to the point and put in. Is Holly on the power play already? Not. He is, okay. Coburn isn't usually on the power play, so we gotta put Curtis Coburn on. I don't know why Curtis Coburn never is put on the power play, but he isn't. Yeah, we'll put Coburn on this one as well. Oh, this is frustrating. This is frustrating. Why does it say there's an error? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to go best lines again, aren't I? Yeah, what? Duplicated players on power play line 2. What do you mean? Was there 2 Coburns on there? No, there's not. This game, man. This is a game. Yeah, this might be a long episode. I apologize. Let's go. Advance up here. Let's go. Wharton up here. Actually, for swap there. Wharton on the second line. Burrish there. Recchi is a second. Actually, yeah, Recchi has to be a third liner, I think. Yeah, we'd probably put Dallas Bruce on his offside. Maybe that would be better. Yeah, we'll do that for the offensive touch a little bit. I don't want Holly on the fourth line. No, that's the thing. So I got to move Holly up with those two. Burrish on the fourth line with Brookbank and Gustafson. I guess actually I'll play Brookbank just for now. So Benino needs to get in on defense. This is still where I don't really like that issue. Is there any way to get rid of it or no? Not really at all. Okay, we're gonna have to look and see if there's a coach that works better with the defense. We're just gonna have to. So that's good and set up. That's good too, and that's good. We do need to call up another depth forward. That's the thing. Which Omen was maybe getting close. Same with Canzanello. But I don't want to use him as depth. I'm going to have to sign ourselves another depth forward. Actually, I could call up Gustavo Brown as that other depth forward. Let's do that. Because Gustavo Brown's already 27, so he's not going to develop much more. Might as well give him a chance to play as an NHL depth option. So there you go. Best lines in the AHL. And then we are going to look at finding a coach, or looking at our coaches that maybe work better with the defensive core. So Renault currently at the moment is a 63. Let's demote him down to AHL assistant. Move Aubin to head coach. Aubin is a 58. That's not going to work for me. And Massonave is a 62. So yeah, Renault technically is still the best, but I do not like that minus. So does Massonave fix the minus on the defensive front? Because if he fixes it, then he's going to be our head coach. Let's see. He does not fix the minus. Oh my goodness. I guess we might have to rock with a -3 to be honest. Because I'm not looking for a new head coach in the coaching area right now. I don't think, unless there's a better option out there. But let me just go hire coach and see if there's anything decently good out there. Not really. Yeah. There's a 63 here, but I don't think he's going to help us. So yeah, we're going to have to just keep it the way it is right now. So we'll probably just do Massonave back as the... Actually, we'll do Massonave as head coach just to change things up maybe a bit. Because last year Renault wasn't as good, so... There you go. There's going to be our coaching staff for the season. That's all set up. And I think we're finally ready to get simulating. I think we're finally ready. Oh yeah, we need to assign ourselves another depth forward. That's right. Actually, no, we don't because we use Dallas Bruce, right? I think we're good to go. I think we are good to go. Let's start simulating and see how this team does. We might not simulate all 41 games that we wanted to do in this episode. Oh, pro scout calling. I wouldn't trade away players that you recently added so quickly. It won't help your GM rep. My 2 cents. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That's interesting because I did re-sign technically Huxley and then I just told him away, so that's why it's saying that. That's hilarious. I don't know why my pro scout is calling me about that, but oh well. Okay, let's see how this team does. But if this team isn't doing too well out of the gate, or if they're doing really good, obviously we'll continue simulating. But if they aren't, we'll probably stop a little bit earlier than 41 games. So we want to kind of take it a little bit slow, considering this could be Vance's last season in the entire NHL. I also should take a look at where Brunstrom signed and all that. And also, if that -3 pairing becomes an issue, we might have to look for a trade or something like that. So Wharton had a really good preseason. That's good to see. But I was going to take a look at where our former players signed. So Ziska and Brunstrom. Where do those guys sign? Are they in our division is the question. I hope not, because I do not want to play against them in a potential playoff matchup. If we make the playoffs, that is. Ziska signed with the Blue Jackets on a 3-year deal. Good for him, getting a multi-year deal. That's a solid addition for the Blue Jackets. And then we also let go of longtime player in Brunstrom, which kind of sucks because he was literally here for his entire career, but he heads to free agency to sign where? He signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs, of course. And he's getting paid over $5 million for the next 2 years as a 78. Yikes. I wouldn't pay them that much, but good for him getting some money in Toronto. Because I hear they have a lot of that, right? So, let's send him to the start of the season and see if Vance could still have a good season despite dropping off a lot. Because this year, I don't know if he hits 50 goals. I feel like he could, but I feel like he's going to finish in like the 40-goal range because he has some good players next to him. Hopefully, adding Atkinson to the team will help out the offense with him because he's a really good passer. And it's not a great start. We lose our first 2 games, but then we win our next game after that. That's good. And Tayupkin has been injured with an injured knee. Goddamn. So once again, we are going to have to rely on Devin, and we're going to probably already call up Honzus, which kind of sucks because Marsh has been a good goaltender, but he goes through waivers now. So Honzus already getting called up for a chance to play in the NHL this season. Don't know if he's going to get any games in, but wow. Tayukin is a little bit injury prone because I think last year he had an injury too, if I remember right. So there is our goaltending situation fixed. Fergone has now been injured, so I guess we'll get our depth defender in. Holy crap, this is a weird start. Okay, 3-4 in our first month. Not the best, not the worst either, though. And oh my goodness, Vance, let's go, buddy. 6 goals in 7 games. Vance is maybe going to try and go for a 70-goal season in his last year, imagine. I don't think he's going to continue on this pace, but if he does, he's going to have a nuts last season. He knows he's the best goal scorer that I've ever had, so he just wants to add as much to it as possible so nobody ever reaches that again. But let's go another month because I didn't really get enough action to kind of tell if this team is actually going to be good. Like when we're around 500, it's tough to tell. Fergone is back, which means we need to set, and that means also, yeah, Tayukin is already back too, so Honzus, I don't know if you started any game. You did. You lost your only game and you were really terrible, as most medium elite goaltenders are. Well, that sucks, but Honzu is back to the AHL. Hopefully the AHL team has a good year, because the AHL was very close to winning the Calder Cup last season, I think it was, but they lost, unfortunately, in the final. I think it was to the Marlies, if I remember right. There you go. Perfect. Tayupkin being back. Oh, yeah, we also need to put in Fergone. If he was doing good, that is. Because if he wasn't doing good, maybe I won't put him back in. Because a -2 is better than a -3. Norgren was an even 0. How was Fergone in his time? -4 in 6 games. Okay, Fergone, you're going to be depth for now. I know you're a top 6, but yeah, I don't really like that. I don't really like that at all. Let's continue assimilating. See if Vance can continue that almost goal a game pace for an entire month. I don't think he will, though, but you never know. Let's continue. Yeah, we're still kind of just being like a 500-ish team, which means maybe we'll all of a sudden start winning a lot of games in a row or losing a lot of games in a row. And as I'm saying that, we lost quite a few games in a row. But now we're almost back to 500 again. Yeah, this is one of those weird starts. It's like tough to judge the team. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of this stat line right now. 10-9-2. We are in a playoff spot right now. We are tied though with the Wild, and then there's also a couple teams back behind us by 2 points. Huh. Vance has got only 13 goals now, so he slowed down a lot over the last like 14 games, but he is still over point per game. He's picking up a lot more assists than I thought he would in this season. Let's continue simulating. The only way to find out if this team is a playoff team is to keep on simming. So let's go another month. And I might honestly stop the simulation at that point. So, but that -2 pairing, maybe that's something we look to upgrade if this team is willing to make the playoffs. this is a good month so far. A lot more wins than I was expecting. And no, Vince. No. Second year in a row he's having an issue with injuries as he suffers a mild concussion, so we'll have to go replace player, but that is unfortunate. Only out for a week or so, but still it has impacted his goal scoring for his career probably. Okay guys, so my Elgato froze around this point in time, but we didn't simulate much more, which is good. But as you can see, we end up continuing to win games all the way to the end of December. Then we did do the 7 more games to get to the halfway point of the season, and we won a couple games, also lost a couple in overtime and a shootout, so at least we're still getting points. But currently at the halfway point, we are the best team in the Central Division at 24, 12, and 5, which is pretty damn solid. The last team that's not in a playoff spot in our division is at 42 points, so I think we're in a good spot. We just need to keep on winning games in the second half of the season, and then we should be able to get there, which is really, really good. But there is some very interesting stats. I have seen this all now, obviously, because of my Elgato freezing. I hate it when it freezes, so hopefully this doesn't happen too often. But anyways, let me show you guys our stats that are kind of surprising. So currently we are the 8th best team in the entire NHL. The best team is the San Jose Sharks, but you can see in terms of goals for per game, we are one of the best offensive teams. Not the best offensive team, but still the Islanders are always really good offensive teams, so it makes sense. And then in goals against per game wise, this is where it kind of surprised me. We are currently one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, so despite having a -2 on our top 6 pairing, we are keeping the puck out of the net quite well. We also have a really good power play, which is the best in the league at 27.6%. And our penalty kill has also been really, really solid at 86.8. So everything has been working out pretty well for this team so far, which is kind of a surprise. Obviously, the playoffs are a different animal, but if we get there, hopefully we kind of reverse course on what has happened in the past. So there is that. Let me show you guys some of the player stats, because there is a couple stats that are pretty surprising. Or one stat, at least in my opinion, it's really surprising. But you can see Vance is still doing really well. He's over point per game. He's got 20 goals. I don't know if he hits 40 goals this year. He might just barely, unless he has like an insane second half like he's had in the past. But 20 goals, 20 assists is really solid. He's picking up a lot more assists than I thought he would. Atkinson's been a great addition. Bennett's been good. Bursch has been good offensively, but most of it has been on the power play. So I don't know if he comes back this offseason. He's also a -10, which is not ideal on a good team. And then Gustavo Brown has been a solid depth option so far. Left wing wise, Wharton has been really solid, 41 points in 41 games. Hawley's got 18 points. He's not been as good, but he's on pace for a better goal scoring season as last year. Dallas Bruce has been solid too, and Curtis Coburn wasn't getting any power play time, so I had to just adjust that before I end this episode, which I already did. So yeah, 12 goals only, but now that he's had power play time, maybe he'll be able to still get a 30-goal season in him. Gustafson's been solid too. Not the best offensive player, but the defensive play is okay. I do not like Hawley and Bruce's defensive play right now, so hopefully that improves a bit. Right wing wise, Bourgeois has been really good, even though he's been dropping off too, like Vance. He's got 43 points. Brookbank's got 22 points so far, so a pretty good rookie season for him at this point. 14 goals, 7 of them were on the power play. And then Recky's only got 1 goal in 41 games, which is one of the biggest surprises on the team. Not the biggest surprise, I'd say, but he's been kind of struggling a bit for goal scoring and for points. But he is also one of those guys that are on like rapid decline. Defensively, our defensive core has been better, I say, since moving Brunstrom, which is good. Jokala's got 27 points plus 3. Carter's got 14 points plus 11. Kachuk's also a plus 10 with 12 points. And then you also have Nordgren, who we brought in, who's only got 9 points but still doing solid. Kelpinen's got 8 points, and Benino's got 3 points. And then, yeah, Fragona's been the scratch option just because of his plus-minus through 6 games. And then goaltending-wise, this is the biggest surprise, is Tyupkin has found himself out finally at the age of 25, and he looks like he could be on a pace to win his first Vezina, because he's currently got a .922 save percentage through 32 games. Mind you, he did get a little bit injured throughout the season, but he is going to have a good season, it looks like, unless he falls apart in the second half, which honestly could happen, but this is definitely his best season by far. As you can see, he's never posted above a 900 save percentage, or 902 save percentage, I should say. But like in his first 2 years, both in the 800 range, which was not great, but he's starting to figure himself out. Hopefully he can figure himself out in the playoffs too, because that would go a long way in turning this team into a Stanley Cup contender. And Devin hasn't been as good as I was hoping for this year. Last year he was really good, but this year not so much. So likely he might head to free agency this offseason and we find ourselves a new backup, but we'll see. So there is our player stats. I'll also quickly show you guys, I guess, around the league. Even though I didn't really look at this last time, I just wanted to take a look anyways. So yeah, the Islanders' top guy of Kolnick is up there as he normally is. A lot of guys in the Pacific Division too. Yeah, damn. Best goal scorer in the league right now is Sylvain Parks, who signed with San Jose. Oh wow, so that's where Parks went. That's crazy, kind of, because they have Jacina already. Wow, he's getting paid a lot for 4 years too. Damn, 30 goals in 44 games. Yeah, this guy's an insane player. I would have brought him in the offseason if I didn't have Vance. But holy shit. Like, his goal scoring still has not left, even though he's gone to a completely different team. Because they have him, McKenna, and Jacina. Jacina's on 26 goals in 44 games. Unreal. Best defenseman so far is Christensen, who is also a free agent, but we didn't bring him in. So there is that. Wow. The former top pick, I think it was. Yeah, our 4th overall pick, Matt Parrott, is having a good year. Huh. Cool. Goalie-wise, so far, the best goaltender in wins is San Jose's. Best in save percentage by a starter is Tyupkin. And best in goals against average by a starter is Tyupkin. So Tyupkin might be the Vezina favorite if he continues on this pace. I like it. And best rookie so far is Pasquale in Vegas. But Brookbank is not too far behind. So there is that, and I think that is almost it. All I wanted to do left was show you guys the trading block, I think. We'll just quickly skim through this because I don't really think this team needs to make trades based on how good we're doing defensively right now. I think moving away Huxley early in the season maybe helped us out defensively because there was a point where we just had way too many snipers and stuff in our lineup. So maybe changing out a couple of snipers for two-way forwards helped this team out. Then again, I don't think we even swapped him for a two-way forward. I think we swapped him for Brookbank, basically. But what's funny is Columbus has a graveyard of our former defensemen. These 3 guys all played for us and all were drafted by us. So they're all in CBJ now, which is funny. But, yeah. I don't think there's anything I want to do trade-wise, but I guess it's up to you guys if there's anything you see that is worth maybe bringing in for next episode. Because I think we're going to be a playoff team. It's just all about, once again, how far are we going to get? Because if this year we're dropping off a lot in overall, maybe it's going to be a better year for us. But also with the way our goaltending is simulating, I feel like all of a sudden Tyukin's just going to be terrible in the playoffs. So it's honestly, I have no idea what to expect, but that's kind of the fun about this game, is you just don't know what's a good team and what isn't. It's also kind of the backbone of this game, because I honestly have had some really good teams that just have not been able to get it done. So, like this series, we've only won 1 Stanley Cup, while in my Ice Tigers series, I won 3 Stanley Cups, and a couple of those rosters were much worse than the Chicago rosters I've put together. So it is a bit frustrating at times, but it is what it is, and that's how this game logic kind of works. So it gives you some like hope out of nowhere, like you could be like a complete underdog and win the Stanley Cup, or you could be somebody that is really good and go out in the first round. So, and that's almost it. So if you guys see anything intriguing, let me know, because maybe I'll make a trade, but otherwise I don't think trading is necessary for this team. So I will also show you guys all the contracts that are up for renewal, because we do have a lot of, like, this might be our most important season yet, because there's a lot of pending UFAs, and then we also have to give money to Coburn, to Kelpinen, to Brookbank, so some of our young RFAs, and they're going to probably be getting their first big contracts. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate the rest of the season. We might make some trades if you guys think it is necessary. And yeah, hopefully this team makes it back to the playoffs, because this is probably going to be one of Vance's last years of his career. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.